US President Donald Trump has officially launched the country's Space Command. The program was first established when the Cold War was at its height. Now, Donald Trump has said that Space Command will defend America's vital interests in space, the next war-fighting domain. Now, Donald Trump has further added that the Space Command would be followed by the establishment of a Space Force. And after a brief period of relief, wildfires have reignited in parts of eastern Bolivia. The area is marked by a landscape of dry forests and farmlands. Constantly rising temperatures are said to have increased the chance of fire in the region. The firefighters have been struggling to combat the blaze, and over 35,000 fires have been burning across Bolivia for the past 2 weeks, and a total of 3,700 square miles of land has been burnt till now. And members of Peru's Air Force have arrived in Bolivia to help battle the devastating wildfires in the South American country. 2 helicopters and 14 members of Peru's Air Force were greeted by the Bolivian President Evo Morales. Now, increased international assistance is expected to arrive in the country in the coming days, and also a group of Argentine soldiers are set to arrive in Santa Cruz region today. At least 7 people were killed in a flash flood in Morocco. This after torrential rains lashed the mountains in the south of the country. The victims were watching a local soccer match on a pitch built next to a dry river when they were suddenly swept away by the water. The Iraqi authorities have ordered hundreds of displaced families to leave camps and return to their home provinces. This even if the families have nowhere to return and may face possible communal violence. Now, many of these families or their tribes have been associated with the Islamic State, and they fear stigmatization and revenge attacks if they are to return to their original homes. Meanwhile, community leaders say that they don't want families who are associated with the ISIS to return back to their homes. Now, a controversial move. Spanish authorities have sent almost about 200 rescued migrants to new facilities in Malaga, and the group includes women and children. And Spain's Interior Ministry has said that the centre was built in response to the increased migration flow. They also claim that the facility has basic services. However, human rights activists are saying that the new facility is nothing but a detention centre in disguise. The outgoing Italian Interior Minister Matteo Salvini has pledged to return. This after he lost a bid to lead a new government in the European nation. In a Facebook live chat, the right-wing head of the League party has accused other Italian political parties of acting undemocratically. This after outgoing Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte had re-emerged as the leader of the new government. The political turmoil has gripped Italy as the anti-establishment five-star movement and the Democratic Party have buried their differences and have come together to keep Salvini out of power. And Saudi Arabia's Deputy Minister of Defense has met with US Defense Secretary Mark Esper. The top Trump administration official held a military guard to greet Prince Khalid bin Salman bin Abdulaziz. Now, the two leaders have also discussed a broad range of bilateral and regional issues. This includes tensions in Yemen, the need for stronger maritime security to promote freedom of navigation, and also Iranian tensions. And earlier, Prince Khalid held talks with US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. The Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte has met with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. The two leaders held discussions on the disputed South China Sea, which is a major shipping route. The conflicting territorial claims over the waters have marred Philippines' relationship with China. Meanwhile, Xi Jinping has said that he was in fact looking forward to discuss a long-term strategic plan with the Philippine president. Greece's newly elected Prime Minister has met with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. The Greek Prime Minister has asked Germany to enter into talks on paying huge reparations to Greece from the two world wars. The Parliamentary Committee had estimated in 2016 that Greece could claim a minimum reparations of a jaw-dropping $328 billion US. This as Germany has denied being obliged to pay any reparations, saying that the country's wartime debts had been resolved a long time back. The protesters in Indonesia's restive Papua province set fire to a local government building. The demonstrators rallying against racism and demanded the region's independence from Indonesia. Now, there are unconfirmed reports that protesters also set fire to several other buildings as well, including offices, shops and gas stations. Meanwhile, the government has blocked telecommunication and internet access in the region as the protests continue to spread. And more than 200 people rallied in the Nepalese capital of Kathmandu against the government's plans to cut down almost about 2,000 trees to widen a key road that circles the city. The demonstrators asked the government to look for other ways to protect and widen the road. Now, the project concerns a 27-kilometer ring road that encircles the capital and is a key network for the increasingly congested city. Now, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, has met with Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Welby has also met with the former president and Mahinda Rajapakse. Now, earlier, Welby also visited one of the churches that was bombed during an Easter Sunday attack. He offered flowers at a memorial commemorating the victims. Now, Welby has also given gifts to the injured children inside the recently restored St. Sebastian's Church. The Archbishop is on a 3-day visit to the island nation.
That by your courage...
All right, now the visuals on your screen are of the President's Park in the United States. The park houses salvaged busts of almost about 43 former United States presidents, and the busts have been in a state of ruin since the park closed down in the year 2010. This only after 6 years when it had opened for the first time for public viewing. An unconventional wooden statue of US President Donald Trump has been unveiled in Slovenia, which is the home country of First Lady Melania Trump. The locals were in fact taken aback by the 8-meter-high structure, with some even believing that it was a replica of the Statue of Liberty. The statue was erected only weeks after another structure representing Melania Trump had been installed in her hometown. The 2019 World Artificial Intelligence Conference kicked off in the Chinese city of Shanghai with an aim to boost AI cooperation and innovation globally. Based on the theme Intelligent Connectivity and Infinite Possibilities, this year's event will focus on AI-enabled high-quality development to cope with the common problems in human development and also to create a better life for mankind. Now, a research team has discovered a body believed to be that of a general who died during Napoleon's 1812 campaign in Russia and has asked a French lab to carry out DNA testing on his remains. Historians say that the body is that of French Emperor's favorite commander Charles Gudin, who was hit by a cannonball in the Valutino city, which is located on the Russia-Belarus border. The Norwegians took part in a Dodds diving competition in Oslo. Now, Doddsing is Norwegian for death diving. The participants jumped from a 10-foot boat into a municipal pool, and each participant was given a countdown before they jumped. Meanwhile, the crowds also cheered the gutsy participants. The Peruvian zoo has released videos of its 3 newborn Royal Bengal tiger cubs, including a white one belonging to an endangered species, announcing that it has launched a campaign to pick their names. The cubs were born in captivity at the zoo in the capital city of Lima. It was a convention time for hundreds of beer enthusiasts and collectors from around the world gathered for the 49th annual gathering of the members of the Brewery Collectibles Club of America. Now, they purchased, traded and sold containers of brews. Empty vessels of beer cans were sold for hundreds and in some cases even, believe it or not, thousands of dollars. And thousands flocked to the newly unveiled theme park called Star Wars Galaxy Edge in the United States state of Florida. An aerial video showed people lining up around the park, eager for a first glimpse of the Galaxy Edge's attractions. Now, the centerpiece is a replica of the Millennium Falcon, that is the spaceship of Han Solo. Now, the spaceship takes passengers on simulated flights with riders allowed to take possession of the pilot.